Okay, so here we are. Welcome to Tuesday, and Jimmy is still trying to get used to all these gadgets. Turn this up and turn that down, and there we go. So we've got epidemics in the background, which turn that down just a little bit. So we were taking over the show. Okay, so I got my we got trusty keyboard here. That's in. A little on-off switch right there. I can put it right on top of that iPad, and that controls this is input to this iPad. So we're gonna go over here, Amazon.com. Aren't you excited about that? You'll find out what what I am going to. Let's see. I do this. Click on me, and then I click on my orders. Right today, what's that? Oh, that's the screen protectors for the iPhone 14, which is showing up on Friday. And this screen protector, this is last year's model. It's glass. And what I was enamored with this, I'm getting off point. Of course, I always get off point. Let's talk about everything. All right, let's take this thing apart. There's one more in here to do Maryland. So, but you see this little carrier? Let's there we go. Now we can see things a little bit better here. See this carrier? You peel this off and drop it right down on top of your iPhone. And then you push and you lift the seal. So this plastic thing is like perfectly measured to the iPhone you're dealing with. And I'm dealing with the iPhone 14. This one right here is iPhone 13. But there's one more glass in here, which is this package. And we're going to shove this right back. I just wanted to show it to you because I ordered from the same exact company. And it costs $10. You see these screen protectors, 40, 50. It's nuts. It's the same as this. And this is, you see, glass. One touch screen protector. So this is coming tomorrow. Oh, it's arriving today by 9 p.m. So this is coming before the iPhone 14 shows up, so that, when that comes out of the box, the screen is clean as a whistle. And we're going to pop this thing down right on top of it before it gets fingerprints and dust and all that stuff. So trying to be a little smart about it. So let's match it up. I forget whether there's one or two in there. I got my phone, and then as soon as I make sure the phone is okay, then I order another one for Maryland. Not the screen protector, but the phone. We're on this automatic renew thing so that we can turn the phone in early. All right, so we're looking to say, just so you know, we're looking for Narenza. What's this? That's potassium. We don't need potassium. I already got that. There's a you see this right here, newer universal phone rig. It wasn't expensive. This is it. You say, okay, what the hell is that? Well, the iPhone fits right here. So if you want to do movies, still pictures, instead of holding the iPhone and being all, if you know you're going on an outing and you're going to take a lot of pictures, which of course I do, so you can put your microphone right on here, like a boom microphone, a real directional, so that if someone is speaking over there, microphone picks that up and nothing sideways. That's the guy right there. That's what that is. There it is, Narenza, August 21st. What's today? Yeah, I'm gonna buy it again. Yeah, I was gonna say, what else we got here? And there's a card. What the heck? Let's just put that in there too. When you order like from Amazon, oh, by the way, see this money tree? No way. And this, there we go. Kind of see where I'm pointing right here. Oh, we go to the right. That is the money tree. See, money tree. And then, I tell you what, it's beautiful. It's 40, I don't know, it goes from like California to like 49 hours. It was like $80. No, it's 49. So I figured, okay, $50. I'll get me the money tree. I got it in my window on like a baker's right thing. All right. Look at that. Okay, so I think we're done. Go to the cart. What happened to my Lorenzo? That didn't make the cart. Oh, so try it again. Come on. Oh, I see. Now we go. Now we go here. Amazon is like crazy amazing. So I got my Lorenzo, which is pills for and it's really very effective for peripheral neuropathy. In your feet and your hands. When you get older, you get older. See, my hands always feel cold, and that's part of that. And my feet used to feel that way. It feels like if you're used to snow skiing, and you're out all day in the snow and all that kind of stuff, and your feet are like almost frozen, even though it's on the boots and you have 3 pair of socks on and all that, your feet, your 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 toes feel like they're not there anymore. You take your boots off and whatever. Well, with neuropathy, that's how my feet feel, and I'm not snow skiing. So, I mean, I give you an idea. But when you take this Narenza, $30 for 120, I take it 2 pills 3 times a day. So, all right, so I got my Narenza, and meantime, I got some of these small J bags. And I got, what is it, eight rolls of TP, rose running out of toilet paper. So now we're going to go to checkout. Stock market is going. I'm looking at it over here. It's in, oh my God, 975 points down. Now remember, it's 31,000, so it's a 3% drop. But that's, it's not a 10% drop. It's 3%. You know, before the end of the day, it could end up to, people are. All right, let's see. Let's place the orders here. Let's see what happens. Okay, first one. So let's see what happens. Well, I take one of those. I'm taking my 2 o'clock regimen of pills, with 2 Narenzas and a Lyric. So if I can get this Narenza thing going, which I've been using it now for a month or two, I'm going to try and stop taking the Lyrica, which is one of these high-powered nerve drugs. And if I can do it with all natural ingredients, and that Narenza is all natural ingredients, I'd rather do that than take something out of the chemistry lab. Yeah. Oh, that's right. What's going on with that whistle? Or maybe this keyboard was. This keyboard controls this iPad. I see carrot up here. That's this. If you do things with the keyboard, when you have some of these control things going, it kind of goes crazy. All right, so I can America first. Um, TD Bank. Oh, it's asking me for like passwords. Do that. Remember me. Log in. Ah, that's not it. All right, let's try it out. Log in. Let's try that. No, it just doesn't work real fast. I'm not gonna mess with. Bingo. Okay. So this is live action. It's not too small. I think I have a screen. There you go. So now you can see. I'll do that. And the top one, no, second from the top is the Dow Jones. It's minus 991. And what everyone is getting the clue on, which is not rocket science, um, the Fed is going to force the country into a recession because you have this inflation factor, which is like somewhere between 9.5 and 8.5. And every time you go to the grocery store, the- a piece of chicken is like I bought a chicken. It was $20. It used to be like 6.50. I mean, and I'm not talking about 1977. I'm talking about 2 months ago. It was $6 or $7 for a whole freaking chicken, a raw one. Which you throw in a pot and boil and make chicken soup. I just got another one. It's 1987. Holy crap! This is like some super duper chicken. So inflation is a big deal, and the Fed watches that, and they accumulate all these. They have um, algorithms. How about that word? We've heard that lately. They have algorithms, big ones that track all the basic commodities, like corn, wheat, bread, chickens, eggs, all the stuff that people eat and use every day. Milk. Well, it's inflation is up around all the latest figures just came out for last month, and it was 8.3, which is three tenths of a percent higher than what it should have been. Everyone was figuring it's going to come in at 8. Well, 8 and 8.3 is not the same. That's a big, that's missing it by 5% or so. So the smart guys that control a lot of money. So you got two forces. You got inflation is up here 8.5, and you got the interest rates down around 3.5. So the Fed doesn't like that because you can go buy something, borrow money, and because inflation is so big, you're going to make money because of inflation. And the Fed don't like that. They want it the other way. They want the interest rates here, and they want the um, inflation down here, so that you can't use borrowed money to make money because of the inflation rate. It's just like dirty pool as far as the Fed's concerned. So that means because inflation is in the eights and interest rates are in the threes, the Fed is going to keep raising the rates. Well, as the Fed keeps raising the rates, automobiles become more expensive to buy. So people, not everybody, but a few, you keep knocking off buyers of cars, for example, because as the interest rates go up, people aren't going to qualify for the car loan, because the payment is just $600 instead of $400. And that's what's going to happen because the Fed's going to keep banging on the interest rate, what they charge between member banks. So the banks have, if the Fed rate is 4, the banks have to, bring that up to like 6 so that they, when they lend money out, uh, they make a profit. I mean, that's what banks are in the business of doing. So as these rates keep climbing, the borrowing activity is going to slow down. and it's going to keep slowing and slowing. It's like putting the brakes on a train. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while to slow that train down. So that's what's happening. So here you had, Trump in there with a great economy, interest rates here, the inflation was down there, which is like perfect. It was like 1%, and the other rate was 2%, which is perfect. The interest rates are higher than the inflation rate. That's what the Fed wants. Well, if the inflation rate is 8, that means that the Fed's got to get to 9, to be bigger than 8. So the stock market has just figured that out. All these geniuses that control trillions of dollars. So they're wondering, well, will the Fed increase their rate? Well, of course, the inflation rate just comes in at 8.5 or 8.3. So the Fed's going to bang at another 0.75%. They may start coming off 1% at a time every month. Well, guess what? It's gonna just stop the economy. Geez. So here 2 years ago, you have the businessman in there, and he's with his advisors because he's not a government guy; he's a business guy. So he has to figure out how to integrate what he wants to do with what the government can do. We had this unbelievable recovery, and the economy was like zipping along. And then of course you had this pandemic mamma that came along, and then that stopped the economy. Well, then it came back again because you know Trump was in there, doing what he knows best to have a lot of business activity. Business activity is what makes America tick. Because if there's a lot of business activity, everybody that's listening here, people that aren't listening here, they're going to make more money. They're going to get pay raises. They're going to move around and get promotions, and there'll be, you know, incentives to work for this company. So companies will be essentially competing to attract good talent. Okay, and the better talent they have, the faster they're going to grow. Companies grow, or they don't grow if they got a bunch of duds in there running it. Well, Trump had an unbelievable thing going, and because people didn't like the way Trump talks and all that kind of stuff, and, self included. I didn't like it either. But guess what? I don't have to like it. That's what people just got to use their head. I don't need to invite this guy over for dinner. And if you don't want to listen to him, turn it off. Change the channel. You don't have to, torture yourself, whoever you don't want to have hear what he has to say. So that's what I told Marilyn like 3 years ago. I said, Marilyn, I didn't, I voted for him because I'd rather have him than any Democrat, that's going to be president. And look what's happened. This guy is completely. He was given a well-run machine. Okay, Trump had it. All he had to do was just go on the beach and leave everything alone. The economy was zipping along just fine. What does he do? He comes in and he tears up, 110, executive orders, and 30 of them had to do with the borders. So now you got people running across the border. I mean, it's like terrible. He had all that stuff stopped. He was arresting all the bad guys and, people that didn't have health records. They were getting back. These people that come from these crazy countries, they got all kinds of freaking diseases. Well, they're not watching out for that. So, you're going to have, the bubonic plague show up in Chicago because some of these immigrants are sick with God knows what kind of diseases. So, and Biden is not putting, He's not quarantining these people that don't have health records. So you put them, back in Mexico and say, well, we'll keep an eye on you over the next 3 or 4 weeks. And if you don't, die of something, we'll take you out of quarantine and at least, check you off for that, assuming that you're not a murderer or some other kind of, crazy thing. So that's what's going on with the economy. So now the Wall Street guys figure out, yeah, there you are. See, now you're down 1,031. If you can see it over here, I can't expand it that way. I can do it by though. Three is, well, Jimmy. You can see me where I'm pointing. And then you can see exactly what we're looking at because this is a full screen mode of, screen number two over here. And the Dow Jones is down. It's the second line. It is down 3.18%. 239 million shares traded. So you're going to have this Dow dropping. I mean, maybe not today, but it's going to get below 30,000. It's got to come down 10 or 20% from where it is now, because what I just described with the interest rate, the Fed's going to keep increasing the interest rate until such time as it's obvious that the inflation figure is coming down. Well, that process, takes about a year. Every month increasing the rates, 3/4 a point, a half a point, whatever. Keep on bang. And what's that do? You keep on banging the economy when the Fed keeps increasing the rates. It's like strangling. It's literally strangling the economy and slowing it down so that the inflation figure comes down. And then, you got the next year where that high rate is strangling the economy to the point where inflation disappears. Well, it takes, a year's worth of increasing rates and 9 months worth of, steadying it at some terribly low figure. Well, that's that's why the stock market, 31,000, it's going to be 20,000 instead of 30. It's going to drop 20 or 30% maybe. I don't know, but it should, because things are going to slow down big time. So next year, we're coming on to next year. People are budgeting what's going to happen. How do you budget for this? Well, you better budget that things are going to be slow. A couple of years ago, probably 10 years ago, my manager, his first name is Bart, B-A-R-T. I won't use his last name. Yeah, Bart's a nice guy. He was my next door neighbor. He lived 2 houses away from me, and all the rest of a little younger than I am, but probably a 10 or 15 year spread between his age and my age. So I'm a pretty experienced lender. Okay, I served as a chief credit officer. I had every title that there is, and I knew what I was doing. I was good at what I do, and I was very good. I was chief credit officer, so I sit on the loan committee, and I get these packages from the lenders, and they have a committee of 4 or 5 other people, or maybe more in some cases. And you got to be able to read that package. You've never met anybody, you've never talked to anybody, but those numbers kind of like jump at you, and you have to figure out whether this is a deal that's going to make it, because you're putting out depositors' money. 75 to 80% of the money that goes, each $100 $85 out of 100 is, you're basically taking depositors' monies and laying it out on these loans. So you better be pretty damn sure that that money comes back because it's somebody's deposits. No, it's not matched with a particular person, on the deposit side. It's just, you go depositors' money in a nice bucket and you're lifting this money out and putting it out in loans. And, my theory is you better show me how this money's coming back. And if this loan package doesn't show that, then, you know, I'm not gonna vote for that loan. I'm not gonna approve that loan. Because I know what I'm doing, and everybody knows I know what I'm doing. Um, when I don't like something, everyone else isn't gonna like it either. they're not gonna they're not gonna fight with the chief credit officer. And Jimmy doesn't like it, it ain't happening. So after a certain period of time, the bankers get used to knowing what Jimmy likes, and the loan committee. I don't want to think it's like I bully everybody, but you know, I'm, I actually do bully. I actually do bully everybody when the deal is terrible. Because I'm not going to let if I could possibly prevent it. I'm not going to let a bad loan go on the book. Now, there are different shades of good. So Jimmy gets quiet when things are good. When when I see some of these obvious signs of, when the borrower is dreaming about, doubling or tripling, what he's doing, to make money, I better be able to, I need to be able to believe that too. And, when you don't have the benefit of meeting the borrowers and meeting the investors with that business and all that stuff, that all gets reduced to, a loan package. And the first 8 pages, you know, it's eight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. The first 10 pages, let's do it that way. You should be able to scan those first 10 pages of a 50-page loan package. These lenders work and the underwriters work really hard putting these packages together. It's not like just the cover page. They got to have all kinds of supporting documentation, and the underwriters, they verify everything that's on the credit report and make sure there's nothing missing. And, I go through, incredible amounts of due diligence, if you will. So by the time the loan committee sees it, all this stuff is, spread out in an organized fashion. And if the chief credit people, like Jimmy, they make it so that the packages fit a certain pattern. You know, the first 10 pages, each of those pages are designed by the credit department, uh, by the senior people that are in the bank, like the chief credit officer and the senior lending officer. Anyway, and that way, so that everybody, when they look at the loan packages, they're looking at something that has some consistency with the delivery of the salient points of a loan. And, that takes, when you come into a bank, and, we acquired banks, and maybe they don't have such a organization, that's in the credit underwriting and the delivery of loans to a loan committee. And so I push this through and make all our banks. We bought 34 banks. I make sure every one of them, we're all doing things the same way. Um, Now every other bank has all kinds of different, shades of what I'm talking about. But all the good banks, this is what they do. Really big multi-billion-dollar banks, they do exactly what Jimmy's talking about. And the unique thing about what we were doing with Southern Security Bank is we were, kind of acting like a big bank, but weren't a big bank. We had all the personal contact stuff, which a small bank can do, but we were putting the investments. To me, the loans that they come in and then they get funded. These are like investments, and the bank makes these investments, creating a pool of assets. Because the loans are liabilities to the borrower, so that means that it's an asset to the bank. And the bank wants to make sure it gets paid back, plus interest. So you let the money out for a year and a half. So you got payment plans, you get all kinds of different things depending on what the loans are. So now we're back looking at oh, there you go. That was now down 1,064. What time is it? 3. We got another hour of trading. I mean, it could be down 1,200 points by the time 3 o'clock comes around. You never can tell. Sometimes, I don't know. To me, the market's got to go down. If what I just explained around about the Fed and the raising of interest rates, it's just the when you raise the interest rate on money, money is the blood of businesses. That's how I look at it. It's like the blood of the body. When you drain the blood, the body doesn't work very good. Back in the days of Lincoln, remember Lincoln? He got shot. What they did, they drained blood. Can you imagine? They thought that was good. You let the bad blood out. Oh God, yeah, that's going to help the body. Ever hear of a transfusion? Oh no, we don't put blood back in. We just drain it out. We'll make, your body will make some more blood. Well, if you got some other kind of a problem, your your blood doesn't get made that quickly. Anyway, well, the same thing in businesses. Money is the blood of the businesses. And if you dry that blood up and constrain it, um, you're just not going to have as much business activity as if the interest rates were low. But when you turn up the interest rate thing, that, that's like strangling these, all the businesses. It's like a tourniquet. And it turns a little bit tighter. When they say the money supply is tight, well, it's like a tourniquet, and it's around the neck of every business. And you keep increase the interest rate, it's like turning that tourniquet tighter and tighter. And only the best businesses will survive that, and the weak ones will die. They're just gonna not make it. Uh, as that tourniquet of the interest rates, keeps, and that's what the Feds are doing. They get, when you're a senior banker and you visit, and you're like on the board of directors and all that stuff, which, not a lot of people in the banking business are board of director folks. They do all the other jobs in banks. There's millions of people that are in the banking business, and there are only thousands of people that are board members and actually visit the. So I was dealing with the Atlanta Fed, and we were dealing with all the highest level people in the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank, and it's a big building in downtown Atlanta. It's a very exciting place. So you get to see how the Fed reacts with businesses. And we were in the business of buying sick banks, sick, like they're not well, and we, raise money, put them in, buy the banks, merge them together, and Rural Trust Bank, had a ton. ton of Canadian dollars that were being used to acquire banks in Royal Trust Bank, and it's Florida based. You know, the head office in Miami, and so they were investing, huge amounts of capital in the bank, and we raised money, deposits. So there's a ratio between the capital of the bank and the deposits, and it's usually, somewhere around 80-20. So if you bring in $1 million in capital, you should be able to, put on $15 million in loan assets. So, Canada liked that idea. So they put in lots of millions, and we kept on. We made loans like we put on a lot of loans. Our loan department, I was in the loan department with some really talented folks, um, and Royal Trust, it was a big global bank. Well, our loan department in Miami was responsible for 30% of the entire earnings of World Trust. I mean, there are like 10 of us, right? I mean, that's including secretaries and things. Maybe there are 10, 12, you know, half a floor, put it that way. So you got a 10,000 square foot floor on the third level. So we had about a half of it. We had, let's say, 12 people. And Robert H. Curtis, he was the number one guy. He hired me. He hired all the senior people in that loan department. And uh, that was a wonderful experience. With he gave me opportunities. No one gives anything, right? You got to earn opportunities when you're an employee. And so I worked hard, did a good job. Every loan that you know, all the loans that we put on the portfolio, paying off. Then the borrowers come back and they borrow for something else, and they pay it back over a year. So I was fortunate enough to every one of my loans paid according to the contracts, the loan agreement, which is the contract between the bank and the borrower, called a note and a security agreement. It's not too complicated. I mean, the lawyers make it complicated because they got all these paragraphs in there, and if you don't do this, the loan agreement basically says you don't pay back. We're gonna take your shoes, So, you better pay us back or else. That's what the loan agreement says. You better pay us back or else. Now, we don't exactly have a gun in our hand, but, if you read those documents, it's scary to death. Anyway, so every time a loan goes bad, that's another paragraph in the loan agreement. Why did it go bad? So, oh, yeah, lawyers, we'll put this paragraph in there and that'll prevent that. Yeah, well, it doesn't exactly work that way. The lenders, which I happen to be one for quite a while, most of my life actually, you learn how to, you learn how to drop a bad loan fast. That's everything else that comes together. That's good, but the real key to success in banking is when you got a bad deal, you got to get rid of it as fast as you can. Don't keep it on your desk because you're not doing. I'm looking at my phone here. This thing is ringing with mine. Let me just take a look and see if any. I got all my family, in the top 9 things here. So if there's a little dip on one of those, that a little blue dot, I want to make sure I get to it. But nothing with family, so we can let people wait while we have our fun here on the live broadcast for Facebook, which is kind of cool. Anyway, so the stock market is down 1,086. Anyway, so uh, no one knows where it's going to go, but chances of it going down are really high. All right, so let's play with some toys. I got a new toy here. I'm moving my keyboard out of the way so I can open up this box. Which way does it open? There we go. I had it. Yeah, here it goes. In Apple, they pack things so, I mean, their boxes are so neat. You know, they use, nice cardboard instead of flimsy. Packaging is really important, right? And they are masters at packaging. They spend a lot of time with a lot of really clever people, smart people, and that, you know, they figure out ways of packaging stuff so that it, serves the purpose of. Um, I'm gonna put on my binoculars. You gotta take these glasses off. These are normal glasses. This is when I'm like sitting in a keyboard and keeps I can see in the keyboard. But stuff like this, I got to put on these. See, these are like magnificent. Anyway, so I got to put these on so I can see. The one thing that's very annoying is that who the hell can read this? You really need a magnifying glass. Holy shit! Whoops, sorry for the bad word. So, all right. So, what these are is air tag. See it? What's an air tag? An air tag is one of these nifty little doodads, which you can put on a. It's, I can't get the autofocus to zero in on this thing. I got a limited amount of room I can move because my headphone is wired. So let's see. I got some other stuff here. Yeah, these two boxes. So of course when you get something like this, so what is an air tag? An air tag is something like, yeah, no, this one's more attractive. I just got one of these. Where's the boxes? There we go. There's a way in here. I can do this without cutting myself. Our son works at Neiman Marcus, and he just cut the end of his finger off. They brought it. They brought the tip of the finger. Uh, it didn't go through the bone. It cut off the tip right where the bone is, and so they saved it and put it on ice, and they brought it over to the hospital. So when they were working on his finger, and you he said, "No, you can't put this back on." They said, "Yeah, put it in the medical trash." So here, see, I'm unpackaging this. So this is something that you put the air tag in, which means you expand this rubber to get to do that in there. Anyway, so it goes in here. I don't want to try to. Yep. So this peels off, And when you peel this off, and there's a picture here, then this thing is activated and starts sending out a signal. And then you turn on your iPhone. I don't know if I activated one of these or not. It's, it's a Bluetooth kind of a thing. So I'm sure in this microprint, because, I read about everything, so I kind of like know what's going on. See, all this stuff is not connected. When you peel off these labels, that's what gets, the, otherwise it's sitting in a package and there's a battery in here, I think. Must be. It powers this doodad. It lasts for, years. So, you put that on your key ring, and if you can't find your keys, you can go to your iPhone and, click on it, and it will tell you, where it is. And you can, you steer your, it's got like an arrow. You go this way to go find your keys. And then when you get close, you push a button on your phone and you can make this thing chirp. So if it's buried, under papers in your desk or something or other, or in the kitchen, wherever your keys could be. Anyway, so that's how that works. So you get a couple of these. So, when you get this, and you got this. So you know what happened? This is a funny story. So I'm reading, about the air tags, and so you got a clever lawyer, right? Uh, or electrical engineer, or whatever, or a teacher. So he's going to go, and he's getting divorced. He and his wife are divorcing, or whatever. That's irrelevant, but they're divorcing. So the husband suspects that the wife has got a boyfriend. Yeah, there's always a boyfriend before there's a divorce. Same thing with girlfriends. I'm trying to get this back in here because I don't want to turn this stuff on. I'm ready to turn it on. Anyway, so what this guy does, he suspects his wife is fooling around, and so takes one of these little doodads, and he just drops it in her purse. So you can't see this stupid thing. I don't know if you can get it in black or something or other. Maybe he had it in a little black bag. Who knows? But he dropped it in a purse or slipped it, in a pocket that's not normally, used in a purse. I see Marilyn's purse. It's full of all kinds of crap. And how often do they, you know, turn it upside down? And anyway, so I'm putting these back in the box. Air tags. So, so I'm going to put one. Anyway, so this guy drops it in her purse or in a suitcase. And he sees, that his wife is in, in the something hotel. She's supposed to be, taking classes at FAU. Nope, they're not at FAU. They're in some motel somewhere. And geez, so this guy's tracking his wife all over the place, and of course she doesn't know. Ugh. So that's one way, and there's people that play bridge, card games. There's an expression that's a peek is worth 1,000 finesses. So, if you can peek in the other guy's hand, that's the most efficient way of figuring out what's in his hand rather than just doing it the way everyone else does. Here's another uh, way of connecting this. You got these doodads. These are very nice. So you put this on here. You put the air tag in there. Then you can, put this, wrap this around this way, get it on there. You got your air tag, and then you like hook this on your luggage. And, put one of these on all your luggage pieces. So, and your, your case that your camera's in, or your case that, your wife's jewelry is in or whatever. Say, okay, Marilyn, put this thing on your, whatever you carry your jewelry in, because you don't wear all your jewelry, you bring it with you, right? So you have one of these, and of course you can just, like I got uh, I don't know if I can get it up there. I got a case like this. This is like a suitcase. It's a plastic case, and it's got electronic, camera stuff in there. So, and it has foam. So you put it under the foam, not to be sneaky about it, just so that way you can, pardon the expression, you can keep track of where things are. All right, so I got four of these, and I got, this thing that would go, on a purse or on a briefcase, and this similarly. So there's three of them and four of these. So one of these is going to go under the foam. Um, these, I mean, look at this. This is nuts. So here is, this is like 4.5. I can't even tell what language that is. So I'll hold this up here and see if I can get there you go. This camera is like crazy good. I can't hold it steady enough. Okay, 1 year limited warranty. Now, as we back this up, we can see, look at that. I mean, there's no possible way you can read that. I don't know. Uh, I guess this came out of the AirTag thing. I should just throw it away. Who the hell? No one's going to read that. No one can read it. But, this way they have the warranty information included. That's the good news. The bad news is it's in, I mean, geez. The Egyptians with the hieroglyphics, hey, they had nice big prints on the walls. Apple has got this, and everyone's starting to do it because it saves a lot of trees. Instead of having, the instructions, like on paper that you 8.5 by 11 paper that you can actually look at. All right, so that's what this is all about. And here's a rubber band. We're just gonna rubber band these suckers together. And tomorrow maybe, I had a lot of little goofy jobs. I have this robotic. I'm telling you, this device, lifesaver. Oh my God! If you have allergies, and if you have allergies, the place you want to stay away from is the kitty box, kitty litter, because that's got all it's got between germs and allergies, and oh my God, that's one thing that you don't want to do. My doctor said, stay away. I told him, it's bad enough you got cats, right? I mean, that creates all kinds of allergic, reactions. So you don't want to scoop litter. So I say, Marilyn, you gotta get off that litter box. I can't do it. I'll be in the hospital and not be able to breathe. Like, so I found it. It's called Litter Robot. How about that? We lost our list. There we go. Uh, so we got one of those. They upgraded it, from number 3 to number 4. And the upgrade that I got worked for about a month, and then it wouldn't. rotates, and the thing rotates, and it sits out the the litter from the poopies and the little balls of litter that become congealed together because the cat urinated in there. So between the litter covering all a poop, um, so it sips that out, and then as this thing rotates, you know, the excrements from the animals goes into a drawer underneath, aligned. You line it with, with plastic, so it's like lining a trash can, but you line this thing, and it works. So 7 minutes after the cat does his business, the thing automatically rotates, at a not too fast speed. So if an animal got stuck in there, it wouldn't be like a dryer. It's spinning. Yeah, no, goes nice and slow. And this sifts out, the good from the bad. And the small litter survives, and the excrement gets like coated. So, like usually, when you have number two, it's moist. So the litter sticks to it. And that tends to seal it up so it doesn't smell so bad. So when it goes in the drawer and has to sit there for 3 or 4 days, it doesn't go completely crazy, with odor. So when this thing works, it's just magical. You add litter because you have to keep adding litter to it because the litter gets consumed because it's coating, it's clumped because of urination, and it's wrapping, it's sticking to number two, and then it drops into the drawer. No, look at the Dow, 1160. I told you by the time the end of the day, it's going to be past 1200. It's not like I'm a genius. It's just the acceleration. So it's down like 3.5%. So it's not a huge drop, but it's certainly not, it's not an increase, it's a drop. And investors, when they see it tonight, when they come home from work, 65% of the stock market is made up of, mom and pop. But when pop gets home and sees this, or mom comes home, they ain't gonna like it. And they open up their 401ks and say, holy crap, this thing is down like 25%. Now, look, I'm looking at this table, all this red. Is there anything positive? Not much. Twitter is up 0.9%. It's almost up 1%. From 41.78. This is Twitter has to do with Elon Musk thought he wanted to buy it, and now there's evidence that Twitter is cooking the books, so it doesn't look like they have. Apparently, there's a lot of robotic users on Twitter. They're really not people. They're computers that that. So computer programs have attracted people to follow them. So they think they're following. So mom and pop, clicks. I'm going to follow this, and it's not a person. It's a computer that's delivering messages or delivering numbers or making stock predictions, whatever. But every topic under the sun, there are computer algorithms, computer programs. My very early days, when I was 25 and 14 to 25, that 10-year period, I mean, I was a programmer. I was, just like every other weirdo that's out there today. I was, I was a basement guy, and I wasn't captain of the football team. Because I was only this big. So I was downstairs taking stuff apart and putting it back together. And I did a lot of work. I converted an old television set into an oscilloscope, which was kind of neat and attracted a lot of attention in the neighborhood. My parents weren't too happy because they were afraid I was going to kill myself. Electrocute yourself with all this voltage flying around. But when you get sparked once or twice, you you earn respect for these wires. Oh boy. Anyway, so I did a lot of things with televisions. I read everything about electronics, and then I started early programming, and there was a programming language called COBOL, and that's how it's pronounced, COBOL. That's the name of the program. And a lot of government computers were programmed with COBOL. Now, there's nothing wrong with COBOL, except the newer stuff, that's window-based, you know, they call it C and C, C++ and all that, which is a better computer language because it operates faster, more efficient, but COBOL was a programming language that you could feel and touch. And I learned it and used it. And, um, you literally write out the lines of the code. Um, Now, programmers with C++, they type it and it all goes on screen. We didn't have, COBOL, we didn't have any of this on-screen stuff. You you either typed it out or you hand wrote it out on this programming pages, and then you would type it and create punch cards. And then you'd have to print out the punch cards and you'd have to compare it to what you wrote to make sure it's, there's not a typo. Because you got a typo in a computer program, it raises Cain with what you're trying to do. Or you could have made a mistake in the programming. Yeah. But you run it through what's called a compiler. And the compiler, competing with my music here, let me turn the music there. So a compiler reads all the computer cards and then goes into them and creates machine language and drops that out, and that's your program. So then you you put that machine language program, you put that in a computer, and it operates the computer. So what I was doing so I went to IBM school to learn how to do COBOL, and there's another language called RPG, which was a mathematical blah, 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 computer language. And COBOL was a common. It stood for Common Business Oriented Language. COBOL. That's what it's a big, the big, the name is a big acronym. Common Business Oriented Language. So, one of the assignments that I was working on was, a, a an employee would be hired by the company, right? So they go into the HR department and they fill out forms and stuff. So what I would do is I created in an 80-column card fields, like with the name, their address, date of birth, social security number, all the really important records when you're going to have an employee be part of the company. So each employee was a punch card, and of course those punch cards got read into the computer, and that would create, you know, the computer record for that person. So we had 150 employees in the location that I worked at. So you'd have 150 cards, or you might have two cards per person. Of course, that would create one record, in the computer, but it might take two cards to put in enough information to create, a larger record for each person. Like their salary and what department they worked in, which that could be coded, with letters or numbers. So you had lots of columns that were alphanumeric that would indicate, what department they were in and all this kind of stuff. And then when things would change, employee, let's say, got transferred to Cleveland, Ohio or something. So somebody would have to give HR a piece of paper that says, hey, this person transferred to, and this is their new pay rate. This is their new responsible officer who they report to. And, then the effective date of the transfer, is the company paying for it or not? So that'd be a computer record. And, somebody would type that out and feed that into the computer, and then that would attach, Johnny Smith is transferring to Cleveland, doing a good job, and we need him in Cleveland. So yeah, we gave a nice, attractive package of benefits, and pay. He becomes a loyal Cleveland employee. Anyway, so so I created an entire employee HR system, creating these computer records. And of course, we were working it in the home office, which we had, like I said, 100. I'm kind of making this up. I don't remember the exact number. Let's say 150 employees, and 8 or 9 departments. You know, managing these 150 people that were, maybe 10 or 20 people in a department. Anyway, so it was a good testing ground, and I was the, head of operations. So I was involved with everybody, in one way or the other when you're in the operations area. Particularly when Jimmy's in the operations area. No, I mean I was like I was everywhere. I was real good at whatever I did. My theory is if you're gonna spend time doing something, do the best you possibly can. Don't work hard and play hard, but don't waste time. Time is, that's a commodity that's, you know, you, you can't get it back, or at least we haven't figured out how to do it. So don't waste time. Work hard and play hard, but don't waste time because time is very valuable and it's something you can't get back. So if you're going to watch someone, a movie, make sure it's a good one. You don't want to sit there in front of the screen on a terrible. And we got an 85-inch screen. I can see it from here looking through that window. There's this doorway. It goes right behind this camera. And it is a big screen. And I got the installers to put it right in a certain spot. and had it elevated enough so that the screen is above, um, almost like a baker's rack, the bottom of a baker's rack. Uh, this, this this camera I got is not bolted down. I'm going to turn it around. I think. What's going on here? The wire is just short. I can pull it. There we go. So I'm turning it around. There you go. So now you can see my big screen TV, and it's up high enough, like it's a foot, 14 inches. You know, the installers are having a hard time. I said, see the top of that ceiling? I said, I want that TV, the top edge of that TV, to be 14 inches below that wainscot white wooden band that runs around all the rows in there. He says, oh, you sure you want that high? Yeah. I said, I'm not going to say it again. If you don't want to do it, I'll get installers. I mean, the guys were like arguing with me. I said, I wanted 14 inches, you know, to that wainscot. And I said, you know, get your ruler out and just mark it off. That's where I want the top of the screen. He said, well, how about here? I said, no, that's too low. Get it up, 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 up. Why? Because that counter right there, that you see that cabinet, I'm trying to lift this up a little. That cabinet sits on the floor, and I want to, you know, Marilyn to be able to put stuff on top of there and, you know, still be below the TV because I don't want the stuff blocking the screen. Anyway, so that's what I was talking about. So now I can put this back where it's a tripod that sits right there in the corner of my desk. And I got a little, there we go. You almost get it exactly where we had it. And I got, you know, lots of stuff like wrapped and see, there's a bunch of wires in there. Who the heck wants to see all that stuff? So I have these black napkins and I've covered most of the ugly parts with these black napkins. And it makes it so that, you know, and then you got your studio. I have like a little miniature studio here. I got my main computer is here. I got a, oh, you guys haven't seen this. This is my mixing board. This is get my iced tea out of the way. Whoa. So now you can see my mixing board. You see, like here, 1, 2, 3, hello. Actually, this is the one that's right underneath my throat. Hey, you know, so I can turn that down so you can't hear it so much. And then you put it up here and you can, you want to get it so that it just goes into the yellow a little bit. And this is this microphone here, which if I'm not right in front of it, anyway, so this is a really important device, this mixing board. And whoops, I don't want this light working. You can see it's Rode, RODE, and they call it the Rodecaster Pro Roman numeral 2. And all these switches are lit up. And like I can turn this, listen to this. I'll do this. That's not working right. I have to, I wonder what happened. There we go. That's what that button does. It grabs. Crickets. So what's this one? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's when you make a mistake. Oh, yeah. So this is like sound effects, which I rarely use. I'll turn that down. And these are headphone. These control your headphones. So if I turn that all the way down, I can't hear myself. But these headphones are like really soundproof. So this, I hear exactly what's coming through. And then there's 3 other ports for other headphones. So if you had, 3 or 4 people in this room, we can have a 4-person, panel talking about whatever the hell we want to talk about. Um, and I also have the ability with this one to, um, this one right here, the Bluetooth one, to connect the phone. So people could call in, and I could have literally a call-in show. And you won't get the reverbs. This thing manages the signal from the phone, so that when a person hears himself, from the radio station here, there's no time delay. There's no echo, because there's about a 30 millisecond lag. So when I speak, this thing bumps up. It's about like a tenth of a second. Okay, delay. Well, here on the phone, and you're hearing that, because you're hearing that through the phone. The broadcast, so to speak. And if there's a delay, he's going to be hearing himself, and it's going to be echoing, and his voice is going to be echoing, and it makes it very difficult for him to, you can't pay attention to what the hell you're doing if things are echoing. So this panel deals with that latency. They call that latency. And the more latency, the more delay there is. Anyway, so I've created this little mini studio. I didn't really, let me pull this out again and just show you. So let me back up. Get the IC out of the way. So there's my mixing board. And then we swing around here. And this is my main computer. Look at how, that's like an echo, but it's a video echo. Because it's a picture of a picture of a picture. Anyway, so this is a MacBook Pro. And this controls basically everything that we're doing. Audio and video. And then this is a boom mic. Now we can pull that up. See that right there? And this goes up and around. And the wire comes behind this little wire harness and comes up in here. And that's number 1. The boom mic is number 1. This one is this, the microphone on here. And this picks up the music, So the lower I hold that down, the less you're going to hear the music on here, and then I can control it. So it's actually the music is coming through the computer. And look at that, touched everything. And I get rid of the shit. There we go. So now the screen is clear. This is a iPad Pro. See the red wire? It comes right along here and connects into the side hub of the computer. And that's how we get, when I hit this Control 3. There we go. See, so now you see both. This shows this here, and that's coming up through the computer. And now I got to split across here so that the live feed from this camera is on the left, and on the right is whatever's displayed on this iPad Pro, which, we can, there's the date and time. I start out with that, so you can tell. And then here's the TV channel. I got that on. It's amazing to get these iPads running on. Yeah, it's like a TV. It's like an 11-inch TV sitting up there. Which I got it on a stand and hanging in there as part of my little, studio setup there. So just swing it around. There's a mixing board. You come right around here. Look at that. Nice tea. It's the green leaf tea, which is brewed and put in 18-ounce bottles. All right, let me get this up here. It sits on the corner. It's not really taped down. So if you run into it, it just flies off there. All right, so it's not bad. Getting it back the way I want it. I push it down, so I'm trying to put my little section thing. If I pull this off, there you go. See that microphone, which is a Shure. Curious. Must be wire. It's not. There we go. All right, so what are we doing here? We're over. We've been talking for a while now. We started at 2 and now it's 3:30. So we've covered a lot of topics. I've been talking fast. Marilyn says, you got to speed it up. It's too slow. So we got all kinds of stuff going on with the government. I talked to you about inflation, and the Fed is now fighting inflation, which means the economy is going to go in the toilet. You even talk about recession. When you got the Fed tightening money, people aren't going to be buying stuff. How about that? And if people aren't buying stuff, then companies are going to say, well, I don't need to make it. So I'm going to slow down the making of stuff. And besides, the company can't afford to borrow money so they can make stuff. So I mean, everything is it's like a cycle, and it's just going to shrink the economy. So you're gonna end up in a recession, and it could be, everyone says, well, it's going to be a real light one. Well, guess what? I don't think so. I think it's going to be. See, now we're down 1,300 points with 10 minutes to go. Let's go back to this. Let's see if the trading volume starts to bolt. 300 million shares traded. So down about 4%, 1,200. So the market, I can touch Dow Jones, and we can get the chart. This is the day chart. Let's look at the 5-day chart. So it's went up here and look at it opened, down a whole bunch. Just this is the close of one day, and then this is me get rid of the chart. Get back to the screen. So right now we're 1,259 down. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna shut down this show. You all have a nice day, and we'll check in with you. Yeah, we'll be online tomorrow. 561-416-1100. You got something you want to talk about during one of these shows? Just call me, and we can bring that call right into the show, or you can just keep it on the phone and deal with it that way. Oh, you all have a good afternoon. It's 3:52 p.m. 3:53 p.m.